What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round Sports Talk. I am always your host, Edwin. Where do all fights start? Round one. We have an amazing show for you here today, so tune in, lock in. Let's break things down. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why is the title, well, there are some world champions in this world, and then there are champions. Apparently, I am a world champion. I mean, some deem themselves. I was apparently awarded this. So they felt like the people have spoken, and I am the world champion. Oh, I think this is going to be the new Notre Dame's World Championship. So if you think you could outcall these fights better than me, pull up on fight night and see if you could win the Notre Dame's World Championship. You know what I mean? We might as well just start over, guys. You know what I mean? Just the champ is here. Yeah. So let's get this episode started. What's up, guys? It's good to be back. In my office. Woo-hoo! Let's talk boxing, fellas. I've been away for a couple days. Then I was a little under the weather yesterday, in fact. What's up, Frontline in the building? Everybody joining in. How you guys doing? Guns, what's up? Well, we're going to talk about that in all these fights and how people are reacting to Naoya Inoue's opponents of late. It's only due in part to it's clear as day. Naoya Inoue is becoming one of the most avoided fighters we have today. And this is how it translates. These kind of opponents. And then Naoya Inoue gets in a situation where now he's not even able to pick his next fight because of marketing and capitalizing on the moment. Now this is where your promotional company steps in. And Naoya Inoue is out there left like, well, look at all the money they're throwing my way. How the hell am I going to say no? Is this not called prize fighting? At what point do you deny the bag? If you were Naoya Inoue, right? And then it's obvious you're not getting the fights you want. Let's break down Naoya Inoue's last fights. What happened? Naoya Inoue was scheduled to fight the number one IBF and WBO mandatory, Sam Goodman. That debacle, we all saw that unfold in real time right before our eyes. Sam Goodman jumps in the ring, challenges Naoya Inoue, and fights someone else and breaks his hands. Postpones his fight because he has to heal on the injuries, right? And Naoya Inoue was left with TJ Doheny, the only man that stepped in and said, hey, I'll take the fight. The highest ranked opponent guy. He was ranked number 2 by the WBA. So the highest ranked guy said, hey, I'll fight. They said, sold. Then all of a sudden, we're fighting Sam Goodman again. He gets a cut. Postponed 30 days. He gets another cut. Enters Yi Young Kim. How do we get here with Naoya Inoue? It's not like he picked Yi Young Kim. It's not like he picked TJ Doheny. All men that stepped in either to save the night or last minute replacement. They were never on the schedule. Ever. Why is this happening? Because the number one guy wants to suffer a cut leading into the biggest fight of his life. And MJ is over here pissing off the masses with this false narrative talking about One of the greatest talents we have in our time is avoiding him. Why? Why would he be avoiding you when he already has what you're claiming to be your belts? You didn't fight the guy that beat you. You didn't rematch him. You couldn't. He was too busy putting it all on the line against Naoya Inoue, the guy you claim that's avoiding you. Wow. And then MJ goes and fights 2 fights. The highest ranked fighter opponent he fought was ranked 58. The other one was somewhere in the 80s. That deems you to be the number 1 mandatory? Naoya Inoue in Top Rank almost laughed out of their chair. Here's another situation where boxing tries to deceive the people. Just like you're watching David the Monster Benavidez versus Demetrius Bivol. And I talked to you about that. I'm going to break that shit down in a second. But with Naoya Inoue, listen, everyone's avoiding him. And the only thing MJ wants is payday. That's all MJ wants. He's a step aside money dude. When I talk about how the promotion steps in sometimes in your career, and all of a sudden, you know, the promoters are playing along. Naoya Inoue, what fight you want? Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And then all of a sudden, Naoya Inoue's like, yo, I want to fight that guy right there. And they're like, wait a minute. We did everything for you. Now it's time for you to fight a fight for us, the promotional company, and allow us to capitalize. What do I mean by that? He's going to be fighting May, right after Saul Canelo Alvarez and Mexican Independence Weekend. They're going to want him to fight a Mexican fighter to capitalize off the Mexican fan base. That's where the promotional company now steps in on your career. They've given you everything, Naoya Inoue. They're giving you all the fights you wanted, all the title fights. Now you're going to have to give back to them. Ain't it a bitch? This is how the game is played. They don't want him fighting MJ on Cinco de Mayo weekend. They were looking for the top Mexican fighters in the super bantamweight division. This was marketing. This was to capitalize on the dollar. That's what this is about. It's plain as day. Top Ranking hiding it. That so much, in fact, they went to MJ and said, here, take this and step aside. And like a step aside money dude, he did exactly that. They knew MJ was just going to be himself. That's what they relied on. Brother, you don't want to fight Naoya Inoue. All you want is money. Here, step aside. And that's where he is. Where's MJ right now? He's over there stepping aside. Why the big boys negotiate the real money fight. You're going to get your turn. You're going to get knocked out accordingly, MJ. Don't worry. Just stand over there with your little bit of money. We're going to pay you a little bit more money. And with your knockout, we're going to get our guy famous. He's going to be rightfully so where he deserves to be. Naoya Inoue on top of the boxing world, knocking these chumps out. Because there's nobody at 122 that's going to beat him. Now, 126. Woo! Things are going to change. It's going to change. Naoya Inoue knows it. I know it. I can't wait to see it. I have to see it to believe it again. Listen, I'm not going to bet against him. I'm with Naoya Inoue all the way. Against any 126-pounder, if you're asking me the question, I'm already going to tell you the answer. I got Naoya Inoue. I'm not betting against him. Nah. It's going to be very hard. I think interesting. New challenges. I mean, Stevie Kubo Fulton, for the Philadelphia fighter that recaptured the WBC World Championship. And the possibilities are endless. I mean, a rematch of sort. You know, Scooter said it wasn't Naoya Inoue, it was him. It wasn't so much him, it was me on that night. That's what Scooter said. Okay, Scooter, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. I want to see it, right? So, and then Espinoza with his size, reach. You know, there's a lot of fighters that, you know, Angelo Leo said he wanted to smoke. Nick Ball said he's preparing for the smoke. He's saying he fighting TJ Doheny, this, that, and the third, and that. So they see Naoya Inoue coming up. Not only is Naoya Inoue bringing the legend of the monster with him, he's also bringing the bag. Naoya Inoue, clearly, there's no fighter north or south of the equator that's making more money than that Japanese dude. Hands down, no other fighter. Shit, no fighters 2 divisions up that way or 2 divisions down is making more money than that Japanese dude. So not only is he bringing the legend of Naoya Inoue with him, and you know, who's going to be the first guy that could beat him? You beat the monster? Oh my God. Wow. What a name on your record. Talk about prestige, a prestigious name right now. You fight against Naoya Inoue, win, lose, or draw. The fact that he's on you shared the ring with him. Fuck, I'm like, I'll take that. Scooter can actually say that it took the best fighter of our generation to beat him. If you're not that good, no one's beating Scooter. He can honestly at least say that. Taking a loss to a man like that, there's no shame in it. Unless you're doing Naoya Inoue shit, then don't say you're better than him, because that's what it took to beat me. Unless you're that, look how good Scooter is. He went on to be a world champion after losing to Naoya Inoue. That's how good Naoya Inoue's competition is. When you rank fighters like Terrence Crawford and your opponents that you faced, were they still good enough to become world champion after facing you? How good was your competition? And those are one of the measuring sticks we measure these fighters on. That's how good Naoya Inoue's competition is. That since he fought, Scooter ain't lost a fight. And he became world champion. What? So, and when you look back at some of these men's careers, you say to yourself, how dominant were some of these guys? You know, Naoya Inoue, he started his fight career, I believe, at 8-round fight, some shit like that, and quickly jumped up to 2 10-round fights, and every fight after that were 12-round fights. He came in the game hot and ready, and it was just like he took off, because when we break down his career, when it's all said and done, I mean, after only 6 professional fights, you only had 6 fights in your career, and you became a world champion. In only 8 professional fights, he was a 2-division world champion. And being one of the only fights currently today that is going on his 25th consecutive world title fight in a row. His last 25 fights have been for world titles. His last not 10 fights, his last 10 fights have been for 2 belts or more. He hasn't fought for under 1 belt his last 10 fights. It went like 2 belts, 2 belts, and from there it was like ridiculous. It was like 4, 4, 4. It actually went like 2, 3, and then the 4, then back to the 2, 2, and then it went like 4, 4, 4, 4. Like it's ridiculous. His run is crazy. His run is truly remarkable. I've never seen anything like it. It wasn't like when Usyk had the belts and the thing that the IBF did and they stripped them. And I want to get into that kind of conversation with these belts and clear up a little bit, right? You see that the WBC right now is ordering the fight with Demetrius Bivol and David the Monster Benavidez, right? And they're talking about stripping Demetrius Bivol for the belt. And they were saying that Naoya Inoue was going to get stripped by the WBA if he avoided NJ and, so forth and so forth, right? And you read some of these articles written by some of these reporters, and I want to let you know that there's a fine line in boxing where truth and lies can exist. It's a lie, but it's also the truth, right? And you're watching that in real time with David the Monster Benavidez and Demetrius Bivol. Because what the WBC is saying, they ordered the fight and they ordered them to negotiate. There's truth behind that. But I checked it out. They're not next in line. The WBC. No, they're not. The people that are next in line is the IBF. And then it goes to WBO. So it's the same thing that the WBA did to Naoya Inoue with MJ Akmandalia, where that the WBA ordered the fight. Same shit. But to tell you the truth, the WBC shouldn't be able to strip their belt off Demetrius Bivol. I mean, if Demetrius Bivol allows them to do it, he can take them to court. They're technically not next in line in the order of things. And you got to remember, right, when we look at how these belts elect their fighters, right? And I try to tell you guys this, that the WBC really doesn't have a ranking system. They really don't. It's like they show you one. You can go look it up. They'll have the number one, number two. I know all that, right? But that's not real. The WBC runs by a 32 board member, and they elect who they feel deemed worthy to compete for their belt. So although you could be the number one, if they don't feel you're higher in market value, or they're not capitalizing on the dollar, and the number 3 guy is more popular and famous, guess who's going to get the fight? The number 3 guy. Because you're not pushing the needle. Maybe that's why they never pushed that fight for David the Monster Benavidez, because maybe they felt like he didn't push the needle. Because as you can see right now, there's a situation where Turki Al-Sheet said he ain't going to bid on the fight. And everybody took that as, oh, look, the fight won't sell. That's why Turki doesn't want it. That's a lie. No, that's not the reason. And all the reasons I've heard on YouTube of late of why Turki said he wasn't going to bid on that fight, I haven't heard one guy say the correct answer yet. It's much simpler than that. I guess none of these guys ever been businessmen, or they're not thinking it as business. It's just simple. Bro, Turki Al-Sheet invited you, red carpet treatment. You rode on a flight for 15 hours. You got there and you smacked me in my face, turned around and walked out without saying a word to me or anybody else. You turned around and you spit in my face my hospitality that I showed you. Your fight comes around to be bidded on, and Turki simply says, I ain't bidding on it. It's not that he doesn't think that the fight's going to sell or anything else. You had your chance to do business with me. You spit it in my face. You came to my home, my country. We rolled out the red carpet for you. We show you hospitality. And you run off like a thief in the night. You showed me no respect. Zero. And you think I'm just going to bid on your fight? I think it's just much simpler than just like that. There's prideful businessmen. These guys usually don't get told no to. They really don't understand that word. He walked away from it. And everybody's coming up with these huge assumptions about how Turkey's doing this. No. I guess you may have never dealt with a businessman and how prideful they are. And you got to also understand, as far as the belts go, where do the WBC get their foundation? Like, what rule structure do they follow? Not all the way to the T, but this is their teacher, the WBA. The WBA was the first world championship, and they elect who they deem worthy to fight for their belt, the WBA. Same thing WBC does. The IBF got away from that. They have a real ranking system. The WBO got away from that. They got a real ranking system. See? And these two try to hide behind what these guys are establishing. Not the same rule structure. Very confusing at times. They don't run the same. So, when you hear these stories about, oh shit, and I reported it, I told you guys. Guys were like, yeah, right. And I was like, whether or not the WBC honors what they're saying, or could they pull that off? Because technically they're not the next organization in line to Demetrius Bivol's belts. So if Demetrius Bivol's team falls for it, like Naoya Inoue's team did not fall for it, they were like, yeah, we're going to go along with our next fight. Yi Jung Kim, take my belt, WBA, go ahead. And they couldn't. They couldn't take his belt. They were sitting there with the bluff, and they were like, they had to fold their hand. Naoya Inoue and his team called the WBA on their bluff. If Demetrius Bivol goes for it, I don't think they could really strip him. If he stands and he says no, because Demetrius Bivol, see, Turkey is telling Demetrius Bivol publicly, yo, time's ticking, make the right decision. I want to see you fight Arthur. I'll pay to see that fight, the trilogy. That's what he's going to invest to teach David the Monster Benavidez a lesson that when I invite you out here and I extend my hand and you spit it back in my face, I'm going to take the fight away from you that you want. And I'm going to tell the guy, shit, get rid of that alphabet belt if you want. Here, I'll pay you handsomely. You'll forget about that belt. This is what money does. That's what Turkey is doing. In real time, look, he's teaching David the Monster Benavidez that you're with the wrong side. You should have been on this side. Business. That's all it is. Naoya is duck who? My man, he dug who? Who did he duck? Who? MJ took the money. If MJ really wanted to fight Naoya in a way, all he had to say was, I don't care about your plan and your Cinco de Mayo. I don't care you want to get a Mexican. That's not my problem. If I rightfully have a claim to fight him next, I don't want your step aside money. I want my fight. And I'm going to fight him in May. That's all MJ had to do. And Naoya Inoue's team was stuck with a decision. It wasn't going to be a hard one. It was just going to be one that they weren't going to be like, damn, we can't get the Mexican. You're going to have to fight MJ. Go knock him out. Hopefully, the Mexicans gravitate towards that and they capitalize on the night. Or they have a change of plans and they say, you know what? We don't need Cinco de Mayo weekend, actually. We really don't. We wanted to bring Naoya Inoue out to America, but MJ's standing right there and he won't move. So we're bringing the fight back to Japan. I'm sorry, we're going to bring him to America. We're going to fight MJ in Japan where we don't need the Mexicans to sell Naoya Inoue fight. You put a Naoya Inoue fight in Japan with MJ, and then you bring back Naoya Inoue on his next fight to America. And then you kick it off from there. The only reason why they want to fight a Mexican is because of the fact that he's making his debut in America in Cinco de Mayo. That's it. But if MJ really wanted to fight Naoya Inoue and this was his opportunity, then don't be a step aside money dude. It's as simple as that. Don't step aside. Just ask Tim Tszyu how'd that work out for him. And every other man that took step aside money, they look at you like a step aside money dude. You're not about legacy and you didn't really want to fight this fight. Because if MJ was, oh, he's ducking and I really want my belts back. What MJ was saying was that I desperately want my belts back and I want to be a champion. And this guy is avoiding me from giving me my opportunity at my belts back. That's what a duck is, right? So your heart has to be and your goal is to retrieve your belts back. So you mean to tell me when the opportunity comes for your belts back, what do? You step aside? Really, you stepped aside. Come on, man. I see you. Hold on. Give me. L. Oh, my God, Lincoln. Here, Lincoln's back. Frontline, I'm dropping in the chat. Wait, hold up, Lincoln. You start acting up. I'm just going to let the crew in. Have at you. Because Lincoln he's been known to be a little troll. Little Lincoln. Hang in there, Lincoln. I call him Lincoln, right? his name is Lincoln. It don't matter. You know what I mean? Here we go. What's going on, Lincoln? Lincoln. Can you hear me? Lincoln. What's up, Frontline?
What's happening?
What's happening? Lincoln's having technical difficulties. Yo,
Yo,
it was an inconvenience. What's up, brother? Talk to me.
yo, I know it's your show, but how was your little time away?
Well, it was a real, interesting situation. Like, Frontline, you knew what happened with. Remember the day that this all started, where
Yep,
a
yep.
person came on, was like, "I know about your dad." It ended up being a lady. She ended up claiming to be my long lost sister. So she found me on my live because she was entering this database, this ancestry.com thing for a few years. There was never a hit. So my uncle got a son, Pedro, and he's like law abiding citizen. The only one of us, I guess, that would dare to go on and take his blood. So he goes on and they match and they be their first cousins. So she's like, "You're the closest match I have. Like, who's your dad?" And then she tells him the story that my dad's name was Cano, and he goes, "That's my brother." But my brother passed away. My father died. So, like, she wanted to find out if she ever had any brothers or sisters or anything. And then it came to us. So she's saying that apparently my dad in 1978 had a relationship with her mom, and she's the result of it. So, in fact, I lost a brother to the streets. He was 44 years old. She's 44 years old. So, I lost my father and my brother, and I gained a sister, kind of, so to speak. So, what we did was everybody was anxious. Everybody was a little. We tried to like wrap our minds around this. But the problem was this wasn't the first time this has happened to me in my life. Say this woman come out of left field and just said that this has never happened to me, I would be taken back. But in fact, I met my little brother 10 years ago. He walked upon me and said, I'm your brother at 17. I've never met him. I never knew about him. Then my father was like, yes, this is my son. Lo and behold, 8 years later, I find another brother, Michael, and he says he's my brother. My father is alive at the time. Says yes, Edwin, this is my son. I was
Damn,
like, damn, Dad, you're a
your
real
pop, your
Rolling
pop's the true
Stone.
meaning of King Dingling, huh?
Listen, we're walking around the cities right now. And we're asking people. We're just stopping. Do you know Kano? Listen, there's a possibility, bro. Y'all might be my brothers. So this wasn't something like, I've already experienced. So when she was saying this to me, I was like, lady, it might be a possibility that you are. This has already happened to me twice.
That's
See?
crazy.
So my dad, my dad, God rest his soul, he passed away. I mean, he was a smooth brother. You know what I'm saying? He dressed right. He was smooth with the words. He was a ladies' man, and he traveled. At one time he was a musician, playing instruments with a band. And at one point in his life, he was a boxer and he did all, so he was a ladies' man. So that's how Potts was. So we were all anxious. So what happened was my little brother said he stepped up because he was the closest to her in New Jersey, Newark. Because we're from North Side, New Jersey. That's where I was born, North Side, New Jersey. So my other little brother, Matthew, the one I met 10, 15 years ago, might be longer now. He said, I'll volunteer and do the test with her. My older brother stepped up and said, Matthew, you shouldn't be going through this. I'm the oldest sibling. I'll go do the test with her. So when he started going down to Philly, I was like, wait, how are you going to go to Philly without me? So I hopped in the car. So we go out there and we kind of put it all together and shit. And we met. And like the family wanted to like argue the story. Like my brother wanted to call my aunt that never told us, that didn't, like, he wants to track the story. And I said, Jose, why waste your time? Why waste your time and ask anybody about this? Shit, if she did meet her, that wasn't the topic of her mind for the last 44 years. Pretty
Yeah.
sure she probably forgot about that shit. So what? I said, but your answers lie in the test. Everything you seek lie in the test. Forget about the story. Forget about what if, what this, that don't matter. So meanwhile, they were talking about the situations and the story. I just sat back and looked at her. And it was just uncanny, the resemblance she has with my sister, my older sister.
No, that's what's
She
up.
Her mannerisms, the things she does, like I'm just like watching her and I'm like, that's my dad's daughter. I'm like,
That,
fuck. I'm like, yeah, like I'm just sitting there like shocked. Like I'm like, like I think she's really my sister, right? And I'm looking at her and I'm just watching her like all day. And I'm just like, so they did the test. They do the test, right? And once again, we're in there. It's the three brothers and her husband is there with her. And they were real cool. She was mad nervous. She was like, look, man, she had like wicked bad anxiety. She was like, what if I call you guys and you guys is like, bitch, we were looking for you. You're the reason why my mom and dad broke up, blah, blah, blah. Like, and we like lashed out at her. She didn't know how we would receive her. That's got to be real nerve wracking. Your whole life, you're like, I wonder who my dad is and if I got brothers and sisters or something. She just wanted closure. And I understood it. I was like, and she like mad nervous. You want to make a first impression, but you also want to say like, you know, and so it was an awkward situation, but it was real beautiful at the same time. So we're standing there, and she's like, "Which one of y'all going?" Now she's paying for all this. She's like, "I'll pay for it all." She's like, "It was like 225." She's like, "I'll pay for it," and I was like, "There's no need for me to take the test." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Okay, just look at the situation. Whether or not our father is my father, me and him are still brothers. We came out the same vagina. So just test him. You don't need me. It won't give me any valid. I'm still his brother. I would still be your brother. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
so I was like, so she tested him and Matthew and her. They tested, and so the test results come back between Wednesday and Friday. This Wednesday and Friday. Tomorrow and Friday. That's why I just been holding off on like the announcement or the excitement about everything. And I'm just gonna let nature take its course.
that's it.
And then but I went down to Philadelphia, I went to Kingdom's boxing gym, and I met all the coaches and the kids in there and her son. Gave me one of the belts for the champions that when they host their events and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And we had an amazing time. We went out to dinner, and it was just surreal. The moment was surreal, and it's like you knowing you're gonna get that gift from Christmas, but you gotta pretend that you gotta wait. You know what I mean? You gotta sit there and be like, "Ah, all right,
Yeah, nah, that's what's up though. Where's your boy at?
yeah, it was just who Lincoln.
Yeah.
Nah, he seen you roll up. Lincoln was like, I can't troll today.
Ah,
I can't
yeah.
troll today. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to real shit, Lincoln's just like, because remember what Lincoln's whole thing was like, oh, you're always putting down either like American fighters, this, that, and everything. But notice that Lincoln never said anything about like any of the other
No
nationalities.
facts. No facts.
Yeah, no, 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 no. He never says when I talk about MJ, when I talk about all other nationality fighters, Junto Nakatoni, when I talk about he won't mention that I talk about all other fighters, just particularly the fighters he wants to point out. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
so he knew he couldn't throw today, so he was like, let me skip it today.
As soon
Hey,
as you
listen,
drop that link, I hit that shit.
yo, listen, frontline. What do you think about this situation with David the Monster Benavidez and Demetrius Bivol and the
I,
WBC threatening to strip and whether or not what and then Turkey saying he's not bidding on the fight? Did you hear what I
uh,
was talking about?
yeah, I did. But you know what? Right now, I mean, as far as that one goes,
Yeah,
I haven't really been following it too much because it's
right.
just a bunch of
There's a
hearsay.
bunch of there's a bunch of rumors right now at this point. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be like, and then the card
You,
is coming up right now, right? Wednesday with one time Keith Thurman and Jarvis Brook there.
Brooke Jarvis or whatever.
Brock Jarvis, yeah, right. Yo, I think he's gonna get knocked out, man.
Who?
Um One time
One
Keith
time.
Thurman, yeah.
Yeah, that motherfucker's too fragile. He sneezes and he'll pull a muscle or something.
I think that's too much time out the game. And then there's a case where a man like played around with his career in boxing. He couldn't face a loss. He loses to Manny Pacquiao, and that man unraveled. And it was like he had enough money. He didn't need boxing anymore at one time. The belts weren't shit. And he was, putting down boxing. And boxing pretty much left him in the rearview mirror. And right now, what he's selling is his name. The one time Keith Thurman, he used to be a good boxer. That's what he's selling to the fans. And I think Brock is right. Brock was up on the post fight right there. He was like, bro, I'm going to hit this old man. I'm going to hurt him. And I hope he can take what I got. And I'm like listening to him. I'm like, that's exactly what you need to do. You know, and I was just like laughing. And then it quickly, I went to the Tio, Ryan, and all them. And
I'm glad you touching on that. Did you see the LA press conference,
yeah, when he smacked them,
bro? That
what?
shit couldn't have been me.
It could have been you. It couldn't.
Nah, nah,
Nah, yo, hey,
nah.
yo, but the look of him being dragged away by a big dude, it made him look small as fuck, man. That didn't look good. Don't make another man pick you up. You know what
Bro,
I'm
let me
saying?
tell you
Don't do
something.
that.
From the, I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
That whole Fatal Fury card, both press conferences,
yeah.
everything just looks so staged. It's not like a top ranked press conference. It's not like a PBC or a matchroom press conference. Everything with Fatal Fury it looks almost like WWE.
Because of the fact they're introducing that stupid belt. That belt doesn't belong there. They're forcing it. The fact that Tio rejected that belt when they were like looking at each other and shit. There's an echo. Um, he made him push that belt out, and then the other champions and shit are like, and look what Turkey's doing right before your eyes. He's not fucking with the Alphabet Boys. Why? In a separate incident, I don't want to change the topic, but as in a separate incident, Saul Canelo Alvarez and William there, they were standing, right? They had the new version of the Ringside magazine. The guy was holding it in between. Saul reaches back for his belts, the WBC and all of them. The guy's coming on the stage with him. And the guy with the belt that was holding the ring went like this. And Saul looked back and went, no, I can't grab him. And they went, no. And Saul just turned around and looked at the camera. He didn't allow the alphabet belts to be put in the picture. And it clearly shows where Turkey's vision is. He's going to fight against them. That's what he thinks
Oh,
he's going to do.
yeah, he's gonna fight big time against them.
And then that the reason why it looks so fake to you and staged, right? The energy is off. Ever
Way
since
off.
ever since Rolly, he's not as funny as he used to be. He's all corny with it now. And Rolly's not allowing himself to be himself because he got clowned. He realized when he was saying all that shit about Javante, they weren't laughing with you. They were laughing at you. And there was a difference, and he felt like a fool. So now he's real selective with the way he says things, and the energy is off. Then you find yourself the some of the fighters are not even arguing with the fighter they're supposed to be arguing with. They're arguing with
That they're arguing amongst each other. Barbosa's arguing with Haney. He's arguing
right.
with Rowley. He's arguing
We're
with Teal. Ryan's arguing with all four actually because he took a shot at Barbosa too.
yeah, and
So
it's just it's
that's
just
what I'm
it
saying. It felt off. It felt like
no
a
no no,
like some wrestling type shit.
and then Tio is the one that's making it the most WWE. He goes on stage with a prop, a black sword. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there with leather jackets, and Tio got black mascara on. And I'm saying to myself, is Tio trying to appease to the white audience now? Because he lost
No.
the black. Wait. He lost the black audience. He lost the Puerto Rican audience, the Latin. And then all of a sudden, you might say no, but shit. Did he look like Brad Michaels up there?
He did.
Okay, then. And he had the Stone Cold Steve Austin leather freaking jacket because Barboza had it with the black gloves. So he tried to leather jacket him. I mean, vest jacket him. And they both look like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Barboza had black. What was he gonna ride a motorcycle after the press conference?
Well, Barbosa always dressed like that though.
Okay,
Tio never.
but Tio, listen to me. Listen, Tio is killed it. That's what I'm saying. Tio made it like WWE. Like Barboza, he knew that was Barboza's gimmick. He tried to out vest him and brought like a knife. This is not that.
Yeah.
This is not that. And then he like, and I'm sitting there looking at it going, look at Brad Michaels. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Tio,
I
he's got,
I I know
it's
as
just,
far as recent history,
yeah,
the only boxer that I know that has a physical mascot is Abraham Supernova.
yeah,
I've never seen a boxer have like a mascot or none of that shit that comes out with him. You get what I'm saying?
right.
Um, the other one, the one that just fought Keyshawn Davis, Burgercheck or whatever his name is,
Yeah, Dennis Baranchek.
Brunchek. He has some fire ass introductions,
Entrance,
like
yes, yes. We was
his
the Incredible
entrances.
Hulk one time.
Yeah,
Yeah. He had some pretty good ones. Yeah,
but that's normal on an entrance, not at a parents' press conference or none of that shit.
yeah.
That being said, I mean, what about when Haney was getting booed and the reporter told him, "You think your chin will hold up?" You didn't catch that part.
Yeah, no, I caught all that. I caught all of it. But
He said, "What you talking about? I got a chin."
yeah. He said, I got up. I got up. That shows that I have heart from a
Yeah,
guy on PEs. Yeah, he said, I kept getting up. Yeah, I saw all his things. Devin Haney looks like his media team prepared him for a lot of these questions. And he always has to seem to have the right rebuttal to the questions. Where that even Tio helped told him on one of the stages, he was like, yo, I'm just trying to help you sell the fight. And
yeah.
Devin told him, I don't need no help. I'm sitting at the same table with you.
I agree
Yeah.
with Savine Connor in the comment. He just said Teal seems real desperate for attention since his fights don't sell, and
Right.
I think that's what it is.
I think exactly that's exactly what it is. And Tio's trying to find his way back into like the spotlight and but he's not. See, you know what Tio actually reminds me of? That guy that wishes he could say the slickest thing or be the funniest in the room and he
And get away
never
with it.
and he can't. He's never not him.
Yep.
Tio wants to be that guy so bad. He wants to be the guy with the and it just when he says it, it all comes out wrong. And he just needs to be and concentrate on the fights. But Tio is so focused on believing that there's a part entertainment to boxing, which he's right, but he's not an entertainer.
I'll
He
tell you
tried
one
it with
thing.
yeah,
He's got Barbosa fucked up. Barbosa could outbox him that night. Barbosa, he might not have pop, he might not have power, but he's got good footwork and he's got a decent jab to keep Tio away.
yeah, yeah. And I also think that look, he's got a decent jab, everything. I think that Tio can work around that. I think that in the exchanges, Barboza, if he times Tio right, he could hurt him. I think that Barboza's success is going to be more in timing. It's not going to really matter the distance in this type of fight. I don't think distance managing is going to be something that both fighters are going to be really like keeping him at the end of his punches. No, it's not going to be that type of fight. I think Barboza is going to be stepping forward, trying to use that 1-2 off the jab, and also trying to come around to Tio on the body shots. Tio's not a very mobile fighter. He can move. He's not very mobile. And the one thing Tio suffers from, he can't cut the ring to save his life. He doesn't know how to trap a fighter. He can't. So, but Barboza's not a real big mover. So I thought it was going to be in the exchanges. Who capitalized in the exchanges? If Barboza can catch up to Tio and he can time him right, I can see him hurting him. but I think it's gonna be a long night for Barboza. I think Tio is gonna, and I
If
think Tio is gonna outbox him, man. I really
if T-
do.
if Barbosa goes in, if Barbosa goes in with the Cambosos mindset and just stick to a game plan, because Cambosos ain't got pop either and still dropped Tio in the
Yeah,
first round.
yeah, but Camboza had help on that night. Tio couldn't get out of his head, and then when he got dropped, and he for the first time for the rest of the night, that didn't leave his head. He was embarrassed. He was fighting what the perception of what people were already thinking about him. In the moment, he was actually having an anxiety. Teal was
Yeah,
more focused, yeah, and he couldn't. He if Teal would have made. Listen, let me tell you something right now. I'll put Teofimo Lopez up against George Camboza 9 out of 10 times. Teal beats him. That one time George beat Teal. That's all that happened there. I think Teal would fuck George Camboza up 9 out of 10 times. He caught Teofimo Lopez in a point in his career where Teal's head was this big. He came out in the Spartan shorts, real warrior type, and his father kept telling him, just knock him out already. Knock this bum out already. Very little your
adjustments.
corner, yeah, your corner didn't smack you into reality. They let you down as a corner. Tio, yo, snap out of it. Pop, pop, pop. Beat this dude up. Go back to boxing. And Tio just kept circling and trying to chase him down with that one punch. And Tio did drop him in the fight. Let's remember. George
Yeah,
Camboza's shit was split up when Tio started like, but it was too late. And George Camboza stole them belts from him. But I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times, Teofimo Lopez beats George Camboza. It's just, he had a little help. That's what my honest assessment was. But when it comes down to this fight, no matter what, brother, if Tio wins this fight, if Barboza wins it, it's a different story, I gotta admit. But if Tio beats him, I'm always gonna say, in a small voice down here somewhere, you didn't fight him when he was ready, Tio. You outaged him. You didn't fight Barboza when
that's
he
what he's
was.
trying to do with Matias right now. They're trying to
Yeah,
age Matias out.
That's exactly what he's doing. Thank you. Thank you. That is Teofimo Lopez's MO.
He's waiting for Subriel to be on his final leg,
Right,
but
to fight him.
Subriel got about a good 2.5 years left in his
Three,
career,
maybe.
maybe
Maybe.
three.
Maybe.
Three's pushing it.
That's it. He's going
But
to age him out.
the way Subriel is moving right now, he's going for Hitchens. Hitchens already ducking.
Yeah. He's got to
Uh,
fight him. The IBF is going to back Subriel, I hope. Yeah, I really, really, I think that organization is going to back Tio. So, I mean, Subriel. So,
so
go
he
ahead.
already submitted the paperwork.
Right.
So now it's a waiting game. They're gonna see if Hitchens only got technically one other option besides Subriel.
Well, they saw Hitchison on a report this morning hopping out of his window with a woman's wig on, and he was headed to the airport. I don't know where he was going, but the IBF was looking for him. They can't find him. All right.
You
All right.
serious or
No,
you
no,
fucking
I'm fucking
around?
around. I'm fucking
Oh,
around. I'm fucking around. Yo, that man ain't gonna fight Superman. Come on, man.
yeah, he's
He,
with MJ right now in witness protection.
and witness protect. They're playing cards right now. Spades. You know what I mean? Both there, witness protection. They don't want that smoke. But let's
but
see if he takes it. Let's see. Let's see.
but if the IBF pressures Hitchens got one other choice besides fighting Subriel,
Who?
and that is unifying, fight, getting a unification.
Yeah, but Tio's already fighting.
Teal's fighting.
Tio's fighting.
Antoine just finished fighting, but Antoine might Gary Antoine Russell might
Yeah,
pull
and
up
Puello's just fought.
right on the same
So
card.
all the other champions, where is he going to get this unification? And the last belt was Tio. He can't run. He has nowhere to hide. He's fucked.
Yeah, he's fucked.
He's gotta fight Subriel, bro. This is the perfect time. He looked around for all the other champions. They're like, yo, I just fought. Not even 30 days ago. I just fought.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are as far as like getting your next fight. I know you talked about it before, where they assess the fight and they
Yeah,
figure out how much damage you took, or
right.
how
Because
exhausting the fight
right,
was.
right. Because I talk like thank you for bringing that up because sometimes I am a little fast. And the reason why I laugh with confidence is because I know that after every fight, you're suspended until the athletic boxing committee of the city or the state or country you were fighting in hands down the suspension for how long they how much damage you took into the in place to save the fighters from themselves. Sometimes promoter come around with a bag big enough, wave it in your face, and you just took a massive ass whooping less than 2 months ago, and your black eyes probably didn't even heal, and you're saying yes. So they put this rule in place so that health wise, it gives you to protect the fighter. So right after Puello fought Sando Martin, we I gotta look it up and I'll be able to tell you what were the suspensions they held down. Did they say 4 months? Did they say 3 months? Did they say 2 months? 6 months? What did they say?
Hold on,
So
hold on, hold on. I gotta
yeah,
address this. Young Gun
Matias,
says
yes.
Matias has lost two times from 2021 to 2024. He isn't this machine.
Mm. Mm-mm. Well, in boxing in a normal world, right? We never said that Subriel Matias is an elite fighter. Elite fighters are the ones that kind of typically go undefeated. They're in a 1% conversation. If we were talking about great fighters, all the great fighters that we have around and all fighters that are defeated, the one thing you can say that defines a good fighter from an average fighter, well, let's look at Super Matias. And you said that he lost twice. The one interesting thing about Super Matias, he went back and revenged that loss.
And he's looking to revenge his second loss. Edwin froze up. Yo, guess he froze up. Nah, you ain't freezing with that comment because with your comment you're coming out with, it makes no sense. He lost the first time against Ananian. He rematched. He
Beat
beat
him,
Ananian, and then
made him
with
quit.
Paro, when he fought Paro in Puerto Rico, he lost. But if you watch that fight, it was
A
after
close fight.
round four. It was a bunch of clinching, a bunch of headbutting, a bunch of
Yeah,
running.
but it
That
still was a close fight.
it was a very close fight.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was what 115, 114 or 13 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a
It
razor
was
thin fight.
it could have went either way. And
Right,
that's why us fans ain't even mad at the decision that came up. We accepted it. We ain't come up with no excuses, no nothing. The better man won. It is what it
right,
is.
right.
Pyro
And
came in with a game plan. He executed. He won. It is what it
right.
is.
And then
But
when you go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
but if you notice, even with that second loss against Pyro in Puerto Rico, Subriel already made it clear
Oh,
that when he gets the title, before he even unifies or he's going to defend it one time, and he's going to defend it against Paro. He's going to give Paro that other opportunity so he can prove to the world that it was an off night for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ironically, you think about Subriel Matias, right? And they're trying
Oh
to
my
like
God!
they're trying to
Look at what he's saying. Look at the way
look at the
Hitchens
way.
dispatched of Paro. Styles
Okay.
makes fight. I know. Okay, so that
Hold,
being said, Hitchens didn't dispatch Paro. He outboxed him and ran just like Paro did against Matias.
listen, this guy says Styles make fights like he just broke down all of boxing. Let me get my pad and paper and write down your words of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Your knowledge on boxing. Listen, let me tell you something right now, right? If you really think about it, you're talking about a guy that lost 2 fights. He's never been dropped in his career. Subriel Matias,
You know what they consider a
yeah,
knockdown when he had the
standing 8 count,
standing eight
right?
count,
He's never
and it was a standing
he's
eight count,
never
and
been
the
dropped in his entire
ever,
career. He's never been knocked out.
including
He's
amateurs.
not nothing. He lost two close razor thin decisions that
He's never took a
never
knee
took a
either.
knee neither. He was on the rope standing up and the ref had to give it to him, right? So when you're talking about this guy, right? Remember, the guys that you lost, they got dropped, rocked, like Subria's that dude. So look, you can say what you want about him. He's a threat in the division. He's a threat. And as of right now, Subria's doing and taking all the opportunities he's being given. Whatever man dares to step in front of him, because he's high risk, low reward right now. He doesn't have a belt. So he's playing his cards. They put these
Well, you know who would be a good fight because they're the
who?
same way.
Oh
Gary Anton Russell and Subriel.
no. That is an amazing fight. And I really think that those two men will really test each other. I like Gary Antoine Russell. He's strong. He can box. He has a great jab. He's a smart fighter. Um, Subriel Matias is criticized for being a one-dimensional fighter, and I say that's a lie. I say
Well, you saw his
I
last fight. He showed
no no
footwork. He showed
yeah no
angles.
no, and then you got to understand that when this guy sits here and says styles make fights, right? What he really means is that Subriel's style of fighting, right? There's a lot that comes with it. A lot of people will try that forward pressure fight like Javante Tank Davis, but you got to be able to pull that off. And that style of fighting, you're going to take a punch or two. What these guys are not understanding is that they're when he takes a punch or two, they're using it that as a weakness. So Bria Matias, that's his fight game plan. He's gonna take a punch or two to get in there to give a punch or two. And what he
Young Guns, you must have left the chat or left the channel when Edwin clarified that if Cambosos was to fight Teal, 9 times out of 10, Teal would beat Cambosos. It was just an off night for
yeah,
Teal.
that's it.
It's the same thing for
Same
Matias.
shit. Same shit.
It was an off
Same
night.
shit.
He got into the
Same
height.
shit. Same shit.
Rumors are that he was partying the night before because he was
Right.
fighting at home, but he never
Yeah.
mentioned it. We never used it as an excuse
And I'm a
because he didn't put up
right,
no
and I'm gonna tell
excuses.
you right now, you put Liam and Paro in the ring with Subir Matias, 9 out of 10 times, Subir's gonna beat him, bro. It's that one time you beat him, and it's given, like these guys are going. What I'm saying is, to break it down the most simplest way, don't hold Subir to that night. That's all I'm gonna say. You want to hold him to it?
Yep.
You have at it. I'm gonna let Subir Matias do his talking in the ring, because as of right now, he's already submitted the paperwork. He's doing everything he needs to do. They said, fight this guy, you'll become the number one mandatory. That's exactly what he did. What did he do? He brutalized that man. And now he's on his way to fight for his belt back. So no matter what,
And he's being
and
avoided
no matter
again.
what you think, it's all opinionated. The man's obviously coming. He's already going in that direction. And I advise these guys, If Richard Hitchison is so much better than Subiel, there he is right there. What a coincidence. He's right there. He's your number one mandatory. Shut everybody else up. Go wherever you.
Well,
Yeah,
my
beat
thing
him.
is, if Puerto Ricans are so easy to
No,
beat,
that Tio said that. I'm not gonna hold
and
Richardson to
yeah,
that. Richardson never said that.
and you can no Richardson, no Richardson before the title
Yeah.
fight, he said that he don't know if he can fight with the IBF
Yeah,
rehydration
that's what he
clause
said.
because his body might not
Yeah.
be able to handle it, so on
And
and
then
so
he becomes
forth.
the champion.
Well, once Subriel loses the title, all of a sudden that rehydration clause is
It's
not
not
a
a
problem.
problem. It's not an inconvenience.
It's
It's
not,
not an inconvenience. I can make the weight. I can make it.
but I mean, he mentioned here Australian fighters are good for an upset win. Horn over Pacquiao, Costa over Zab. Teal, I mean, Cambosos over Teal. We get it. But guess what? What has Cambosos done after he beat
Lost,
Teal?
lost,
Nothing.
lost, lost, lost. Oh, he got a win. He got one win for
He
the
got one
IBO
win.
title.
So, I mean, that goes to show you that, yes, styles do make fights, but the style, it depends on the style that each opponent's bringing. For an example, between Gary Antoine Russell and Subriel Matias, that'll be a banger because Gary Antoine Russell is a come forward fighter, and so is Subriel.
Let me explain something about that little phrase styles make fights. And I think that guys can just, they think that they could just say that phrase and it covers everything in boxing for you. And it doesn't. And
Hold on, before you get in your train of thought, Savine Connor wants to know what the TL say about Puerto Ricans. What he said was Puerto Ricans are easy to beat. I don't care how Puerto Ricans feel, and that was it. And then in another interview, he said that Subriel is his perfect style because he'll finish them in 4 rounds.
that's what he said. Now, this misconception that's going around in boxing, right? Like Lamont Roach is a perfect example. Everybody feels that if Lamont Roach did that kind of performance against Tank Davis, well, then automatically Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney are going to beat Tank Davis, and that's why he was avoiding him. And that styles make fights. And I want you to know that that's so much further from the truth. Check this out. This is how real fighting actually happens. When I saw that performance with Lamont Roach and Tank Davis, I didn't automatically think that Shakur Stevenson would be able to do that against Tank. Why? Because Shakur Stevenson would have to understand everything Lamont understood in that ring and the when and the where. Just because Shakur is more skillful doesn't automatically merit him the exact thing that Lamont was thinking in the moment in the exchanges when Tank opens up. The reason why Lamont looked that good against Tank Davis, he sparred against Tank for many years in preparation for other fights. He was so familiar with Tank, it was the same thing that happened with Jermaine Ortiz versus Vasily Lomachenko.
Yep.
He was Vasily's training partner for 3 years. He knew Vasily that well. That's why no one else looks good against Vasily after that Jermaine fight, that he actually looked human. Jermaine knew all his mannerisms, what he was going to do before he was going to do it. That gave him an edge. So it will give you this false impression that just because Lamont Roach did that to Tank Davis, that it already awards fighters like Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney the victory over a fighter such as Tank Davis. And that can't be further from the truth. And when guys say styles make fight and they try to say that Shakur's style is better than Lamont Roach, it already validates that. Go ahead and put Shakur in there and get him knocked the fuck out. Trying to pull off what someone else pulled off.
Hey, Edwin,
You
Matt
don't
wants
have
to know where's your belt at. He wants to see your belt.
he already knows it's right by my side. It's already up here, brother. It's right. It's in the building. It's within arm's reach. I started the show with it. You must be late, but just in case, the champ is here. The champ is here. You know what I'm saying? That's, hey, man, say no more. I'll always come and show it, you know? But listen, like I said, guys, that's not how real fighting works. I know that Shakur is more skilled than Lamont Roach, but Lamont Roach understood things about Tank Davis. Shakur doesn't understand.
So
He's
Young
not going
Gun
to be
says
able to
Frank
pull it
Martin
off.
sparred Tank, and we saw how that ended.
Yes, he sparred Tank on a time where Frank the Ghost Martin beat up Tank Davis's friend, and Tank came off a plane, off of his couch, went into the gym with his sneakers on, and took somebody's equipment and sparred Frank the Ghost Martin that one time. It wasn't like you were getting a fully active Tank Davis, like in training camp. He went there because Frank beat up his friend and posted it on social media. And Tank got off of a plane and went into the. That's not a real sparring match. That was just a fight. And then Frank the Ghost Martin took that and said, what? He was going to beat up Tank Davis? Oh, when you guys sparred, did you guys add the bright lights? The crowd, your wife and family in the audience, the nerves building up, everything on the line? Did you add all those elements into your... So what made Frank the Ghost Martin think for 1 second that he had wins over Tank? Tank, when Frank the Ghost Martin came into that fight, and even when he had success in the fight, he wasn't having success. Frank the Ghost Martin, in reality, he didn't win a second in that fight. He might have won a couple rounds, but they were given to him by Tank Davis setting them up. He set them up step by step by step and brutally knocked them out. And Frank the Ghost Martin was lost in that fight. And that was a real boxing match. How'd that work out for you? You guys are going to get these other guys fucked up about Tank Davis, and you guys are holding them to this performance with Lamont Roach, telling yourself styles make fights. And because this guy's style is better, well, that's not how fighting works. You got to know your fighter. And Shakur Stevenson absolutely knows nothing about Tank Davis' style right now and the way he's been fighting the last 4 or 5 years. That pressure game he's developed, that's a new Tank Davis. That's not the same Tank Davis that fought Yuri Gamboa and Leo Santa Cruz. That's not that Tank Davis. No. And when he fought Mario Barrio, yo, guys, stop it. Stop talking like Mario Barrios was somebody. Let's remember what happened that night. He also put a 10-pound rehydration claw on Mario Barrio. Mario Barrio was a kid. He might have been undefeated, but the reason why he's in the conversation is because he fought Tank Davis at the time. We had to talk him up. So stop acting like he went up to 140 and beat some big dude and he's the shit like that. No. Tank is a natural 130-pounder. He don't belong at 135 and he don't belong at 140. He need to take his little ass down at 130 and become a champion and fight Lamont Roach for that real WBA World Championship and get dedicated with the sport. That's what Tank really needs to do. You saw Lamont Roach versus Shakur being a better fight than Schofield. If you can get Schofield in the fucking ring with his paranoid, psychotic dad that has all these conspiracy theories that the entire world is after his son. Who the hell is scared of your son? Name me one fighter currently today that says, I don't want to fight Schofield because he's so good. His father is watching too much CSI, and I think that shit got to his head. I think Schofield needs to cut his father out of his life for a little bit and see if I can just walk by myself. I'll let you in the door later. But he needs to do a little damage control with his dad. So crazy. Talking about outrageous, telling outlandish lies. That the police had 2 brothers locked up with drugs in their hand that they found in your car. But thank God to the tow truck driver that said this car has not been on We made a mistake. Unhandcuff these two young men. Where did they do that at? Once I was in cuff, that was a wrap. I was going to the station. That's it. I ain't never seen no shit like, man, it just outlandish lies. So, is it a better fight? Let me think. I would say, right? You see, the truth of the reality is, before the fans start pushing these names around, Lamont Roach is not a 135 pounder. He's the champion at 130, guys. Why is he fighting Shakur Stevenson at 135? See, Tank Davis did this shit. This is not Shakur Stevenson's problem. He shouldn't have to clean up on IO3 and have to beat Lamont Roach. What? For what? To put him back down to reality? That Tank couldn't do the job? That he's the one that brought this problem up? Lamont Roach shouldn't be fighting any of our fighters at 135. He should be defending that belt that he has at 130. Or either vacated and you think you're a real 135 pounder now? Just because you fought Tank Davis? Lamont, you're going to get fucked up. You fuck around and put him with, and I think Schofield might beat him. A little Sean Porter replica. Schofield might beat because that little like Mike Tyson in S style, that's a real pressure like type. I thought that Tank would pull it off, but he seemed a little shy on the trigger. And it was due in part to Lamont Roach's timing on him. When Tank would come out of the guard to get his shot, he was snapping him right there with that over left. He was just snapping Tank. And then Tank, he was out of position in the fight. He overextended in his punches. He was squared up when Lamont hit him. When Lamont hit Tank and he staggered him, it wasn't so much that Tank was hurt. He was out of position. His feet should have never been squared like that. Tank's a world-class fighter. What the fuck are you doing? You're making mistakes like that? That big? So, Lamont knew him very well. I don't think too many fighters are going to look like that against Tank. They would have to understand everything that Lamont understood on that night. And that only comes with experience that they don't have. You can get any replica of Tank Davis. He could be his fucking lookalike. But does he move and throw punches exactly the where and when that Tank would? I don't think so. So, having the real Tank Davis spar with you day in, day out, Lamont Roach knew a lot. He knew a lot. And that's the only reason why he looked like that. You guys are going to get some of these dudes fucked up, and then Tank's going to really capitalize on it. He's going to knock one of these superstars out thinking it's sweet when they need to take him serious. You know, it was just one of those nights at the office. You know, we're not all Superman. You guys got to get this perception of the fighter that's just going to walk in and boom, knock everybody out and walk off like, like those people don't exist. These guys are going to get dropped. These guys are going to lose fights. They're going to take chances, real risks. That's real boxing. All this just because you're undefeated shouldn't validate that you're the best fighter in the world. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Andrew Ward retired undefeated. You don't see nobody saying he's the GOAT. He's the greatest fighter of all time. He fought in his division and he fought these kind of fighters. Ain't nobody saying he's the greatest fighter in the world. No. So all that protecting the O, it's the men on your name. Who did you fight? Let me see your record. Who'd you fight? And if I see a fucking list of owls, who the hell is that? Who? You didn't fight nobody. When you look at Gervonta Davis's record, it's just a bunch of owls. Who? Oh, the fax machine 2024. Like, none of the guys he fought achieved anything. None of the guys he fought are multiple year. Nobody Javante Davis fought is going to the Hall of Fame, but probably Leo Santa Cruz. He might slide in there, maybe. Leo Santa Cruz, yeah, he will. He started his career at like what, 114, some shit like that, and he's a 3 division world champion. So he might get into the Hall of Fame, Leo. That's it. And he wasn't even a guy that you fought in your natural weight division. You brought him up. So who the fuck did Tank fight? And how good are these fighters, guys? When you look at the landscape of things, like just for shits and giggles, right? Let's look, talk is cheap, right? Check it out. Okay. This is what I mean. Bam. Okay. Let's put it this way. Like this. So that me and you on the side.
Right.
All right. Like what I mean is this. This is the heavyweight champion of the world. Right? Heavyweight champion of the world. How good is he? How good is Usyk? When we look back at Usyk, and they're saying right now he's in Ringside Magazine, he's what? He's the #1 guy, right? Okay. How good was he? Right here. He started his career in a 6-round fight. That was the guy he fought right here. Look, 6 rounds, 6 round, 8 round, 2 8 rounds, then 3 10-round fights, and from there he went on to fight 12-round fights. That's how good Usyk was. You see, or
You
is.
know what the problem
And
is,
then,
Edwin? Though I think the problem is that a lot of these boxers, prime example like Usyk, Inoue, then you got these Cuban fighters coming up. Kermel Moulton is one of them. They're putting them on a fast track, so they're fighting these fights to speed up their career. And sometimes what that does is it hurts them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but that's just a point in case where there's different. Every fighter is different. Every situation is different.
Hmm.
But like you said, who has Tank fought? Tank hasn't really fought. I mean, he's fought names. Prime example when he fought Pedraza and he beat Pedraza. Pedraza was already washed up. Same thing with Keyshawn. Keyshawn fought Pedraza. Dude, he's been washed. You know what I mean?
Look at, look at what you were talking about. Look at Demetrius Bivol is suspended. It says it right here, suspended by the British Boxing Board, right? Control until 2025 3/22. It tells you the date right there. How long Demetrius Bivol is suspended for after the fight with Arthur Benavides. Benavides. It says it right
Yeah.
there.
Well, they do that to
So when
protect the
we look at
boxers.
right, so when Richard Hitchison was saying, you were saying, okay, we could even look up um Puello, or we could look up Gary Antoine Russell, and we could see how long their suspension was for. You know what I'm saying? So we can get answers to your question that you have, right? Alberto Puello is the WBC champion. So boom, we're gonna click on Alberto Puello. Suspended by the New York Boxing Athletic Committee indefinitely. They haven't ruled on it yet. They haven't. That's when they haven't ruled on his time yet. See, and then you can simply go right down here, right down, right. Check this out. It's all here. Gary Antoine Russell. Want to find out where he is? Boom. We click on Gary Antoine Russell. Here he is, and he is not suspended right now. According to this, they don't got no suspension held on him. They also don't got this updated. No, it says that he won a unanimous decision against Jose Valenzuela. This is looking on him, but they should have the WBC World Championship and I mean, fuck, it wasn't the WBC, it's the WBA. My bag. And they don't acknowledge the WBA. That's what's going on. Box Record does not acknowledge WBA world titles. That's why there's not a title. I was a little confused there. It was the WBA world title he fought Jose Valenzuela for, but he is not suspended. You see? So, oh, let me get you back here. I got you. I
I'm
got
good.
you. I got you. Yeah. So yeah, if you were listening and stuff like that, like yeah, but that's how I find that out. So Puello is still waiting on suspension, as you can see. So whenever you want to find out, and it's always to protect the fighter. After the fight, they're going to issue them a suspension. You just don't know how long it is. Remember when Ryan Garcia fought Tank Davis, and Tank Davis knocked him out with a body shot. But lo and behold, Ryan Garcia, I guess, did have something wrong with his ribs, and it was documented. So it was a rib injury, and the New York Boxing Athletic Committee deemed that's going to take a little while to heal, son, and they issued him 6 months
Yeah.
suspension. They gave him a 6 month suspension for that. The next time, well, look on his dates when he fought Tank, he didn't fight because they suspended him for that long. And then the weird thing is when Errol Spence Jr. fought against Terrence Crawford, they only suspended him for 2 months. The New York, I'm sorry, that boxing athletic committee that held Terrence Crawford's fight, they only suspended Errol Spence Jr. for 2 months after that massive ass whooping.
Yeah.
Go figure, huh?
Bro, it's all politics. It's
Yeah,
politics,
that's
but
crazy.
it
It
depends on
is.
how
It
you
is.
play it. But yeah, I can't wait to see the outcome of what Richardson is gonna decide once he gets the notice from the IBF.
No, well, Richard Hitchison, I believed he was going to vacate the belt and move up. He was going to use that weight claw thing again, and he's pretty big for the division. Richard Hitchison, he's a big dude, right? I saw him the size he was against Liam Paro, and it really looks like Richard Hitchison could crack because he was getting some good reactions out of Liam Paro. And Liam Paro, Richard Hitchison's camp, the number one rule they um, kept addressing to the referee was watch the clinching. Watch Liam Paro grabbing Richard Hitchison. So he didn't really have that to go to
Yeah.
in this fight. The referee was aware of it. He advised him, if I see too much clinching, I will deduct a point. So, in that fight he didn't have that, but Liam Paro did a lot of good work in the first half, and Richard Hitchison came alive in the tail end of the fight. Richard Hitchison took over like after like the fourth
Yeah, for
round, I
like
think it was,
mid
and
fourth, and
Richard
then for the
Hitchison,
rest of the fight, he just took control.
yeah, he took control of the fight after that. Liam Paro had no answers for him. So you look, I'm not gonna say that Richard Hitchison doesn't have any skills or anything. He does have skills. Hey, let's just not sit here and act like he's the best thing since
So
sliced bread. And I think he has
so
avoided
let me ask you
Sabria
this:
Matias though.
if
That's
big if, which it's not even a big if, it's a real small if, which I know Hitchens is going to try to vacate and move up. If that does happen, where does Subriel stand as far? Because he's not going to want the title given to him. He's going to want to fight somebody like he did with Ponce for the fight. You know what I'm saying, for the title. So, so who would you?
right. You mean
He
he
don't want to
doesn't
be
want
an
to?
email champ.
You mean he doesn't want to be elevated? He doesn't want to be an email champion. He wants to fight for it in the ring like a warrior. Yeah. Okay. To answer both of y'all questions, right? Young Guns here said that he can beat George Camboza. By Richard Hitchison fighting George Camboza, what does that increase his stock? George Camboza's on a massive losing streak. Like He hasn't even proven he can beat any of the top guys anymore. Fighting George Camboza, that's not gonna give Richard Hitchison credibility. George Camboza's turned into a punching bag. So like he ain't beat none of the top guys. So that's not a good fight for him. And for the answer to your question, who would I like him to fight? Um, any belt, any guy with a belt, any whether it be Puello, I'm wait a minute, wait a minute, wait
Nah,
a minute, wait a minute,
I
wait a
like
minute,
to see him
wait a
fight
minute.
Tio or the winner of Tio Barbosa, and then
That's what I was just gonna say.
I like to see
That's
the
what I said. Wait a minute.
rematch between Gary Antoine Russell and Puello, because not only is it a rematch, it'll be a unification.
Right. And that's what
That
I
would
was
be
gonna say.
fire.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, wait a minute. I would like to see him. Yeah, I would like to see him take Teal. Now, now finish your thought. You think your thought completely through. In a good world, Subriel, Subriel, okay, in a good world, Subriel fights Richard
Right?
Hitchison for the belt.
Yep.
He beats Richard Hitchison, and then Tio and Subriel fight, Gary Antoine Russell and Puello fight. Then the winner out of those two fight to unify all four
Well,
belts.
you got to understand that Matias already made it clear that once he gets the title, he's giving him. He,
One more fight. One more fight. Listen, listen, listen. These kind of things, personal things can be put to the side later. If you give me the opportunity to fight Tio in a
of course, yeah,
unification,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Paro, you got to slow down, Paro. Hold on a second. I'll be right back for you. I beat him, and after I beat him, now I got two belts, right? And then all of a sudden, whoever it is, whether it's Gary Antoine Russell or Puello, they walk up, they got the other remaining of the belts. Liam, just wait one more fight, dude. I need to fight this for legacy. I'm gonna have to take the legacy road for a second. Now, if I end up when all the smoke is clear, God willing, right? He has all the belts. Well, then come on, Liam Barrow. You know what I mean? I'm giving you another. He better win that fight, bro,
It'll be
because
a undisputed at that point.
now look at no. Listen, yes, listen. You got to understand something, brother. He'd be an undisputed Puerto Rican boxing champ in this era. He'd be our first.
Oh wait,
All four belts
so
in a
Young
four
Guns just
belt
made a good
era.
point. Cambosos is fighting at the end of March, so Hitchens can't use Cambosos as an excuse for not wanting to fight Matias, because everybody that's been mentioned has either already fought recently or is about to fight.
I told you he's
Yeah,
running
yeah,
out of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
options.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He's like almost in a corner. And he hasn't fought since
Yeah,
the
he
Liam
hasn't
Paro
defended his
fight.
belt.
So he no, he gotta get a fight. All the clock, he's in a corner. I try to tell you this. I was like, yo, his options are running out. The only thing that's left is Subriel. He's standing right in front of you. He's ready. He's on time. He earned his way up there. You can't say he's not the number one
So
mandatory, and he's the one
if they
mandatory to
agree, when
your
would the fight
belt.
happen? In June? That'll be fire.
Well,
June,
yeah,
Puerto Rican Day Parade
yeah.
in
Again,
Madison Square
that should be a
Garden.
schedule. That should be a, in Puerto Rican. Yeah.
Ooh,
Hey, yo, listen, and
he's
Richard
from Brooklyn.
Hitchison from New
Yeah,
York, right? All right
that'll.
then. He fighting in his home.
Ooh, that'll be
What?
fire. But I think
Ah,
I think the Teal fight in Madison any day. It doesn't even matter what day. Any day. Matter of fact, even in the Barclays Center, it'll still sell.
listen. I was talking to my brother and them, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know if things go right, I could get to this Naoya Inoue thing or what's gonna go on from here to there. I'm just gonna keep my hands crossed. But I'm gonna have to make one of these fights. I told my family. And the Tio one is outside. They're gonna have it like it's gonna be pandemonium because it's just gonna be fucking all these New York people everywhere. There, it's just gonna be you're gonna have to get there like and
You're
get
gonna have to.
lucky or something
Oh, you're gonna have to get there a week before and camp out,
and camp out type shit. Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous.
bro. It's happening
So,
in Times Square.
yeah, and like the lines to meet these fighters, like this, the lines are gonna be like around the corner. Yeah, you're just gonna be standing there. Everybody's gonna be shaking Tio's hand, and by the time you get up there, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's over," and close it. You
Without
know,
that, one of those Boricuas don't smack the shit out of him in the middle of shaking his hand.
I don't know. So like but it's either that or Neil Yainaway in Las Vegas. Las Vegas money is crazy. To get to get a ticket or something. I know they're just gonna be off the hook. So I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Let me see what happens, but I gotta make one of these flights. And it seems like the teal one is gonna be more doable, but
You could just
we'll
drive out
see.
there. What is it? 4.5, 5 hour drive for you
From me no 2.5 hours.
to Madison?
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
If you were to drive,
Yeah,
oh
I'm more
yeah,
closer towards New York from Matt. I'm like right at that tip going to Connecticut and all that
okay,
by Springfield. I'm like more towards that way.
I got you.
So,
So
so
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, you'll
that's
have
mad doable.
parking tickets like a motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I park my car in my family's house and ride the train in.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. Just I mean, I'm not doing that. And New York City lost their mind. Now they issued this when you go through Madison's Times Square and all that, right? When you're going into the heart of New York, now every light, every traffic light, there's these tolls there. They're $9 to drive on the New York City streets. You got to pay $9 in every section. Like it depends where you're going. If you
That's
make a
almost
right or a left,
that's
it'll
almost
cost
as
you.
that's almost as
It'll
bad
cost
as
you.
Worcester going gay.
Yeah, nah. It'll cost you. It'll cost you $50 to turn around the block.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, in New York right now. And what they're doing is they did that because New York's crazy. Like now it got to a point in New York City where you're not even moving in traffic. You're no longer moving. You're just there because there's too many cars. So what they try to do was implement this to discourage just the joyriders always going down to New York. Let's go to the city. Well, if you can't afford it or if you're not a business person, they're asking you to pay to be on these streets now, type shit.
Yeah,
So like, and you know how the New Yorkers are. They put up the system today, they found the way around it tomorrow. You know what I
that's
mean?
crazy.
Like
Yeah,
they got these dudes with this these number they're like reflector numbers and they put them on the license plate. So when you drive by and it takes a picture, it
they don't
doesn't
catch
show
it.
the number. Yeah. So
Come
like
on,
one of
five
your
respect.
numbers,
That was
one
created here in
number would be
Florida.
gone. Yeah, they one number would be gone, or you put a paper plate and New York's got all these checkpoints now and they're stopping cars and taking their plates off and it's a fucking war. I'm just like New York went up and went crazy, bro. I'll ride the train in. Fuck it. If I don't get mugged and raped by the time I get up there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I'll just walk around with my pockets inside out and my coat open, like, don't even bother. I got nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just,
Here's,
the world's going crazy, bro.
here's another one
But
for
I
you.
wanted to, but they got that fight in Madison Square Garden. And I really wanted to check that out if I could. And I'll see what's gonna happen. But since that one's a free fight, it's gonna be everywhere. Damn, that's
Here's it.
nice. It's coming along nice.
No, there's a different one.
Oh, it's a different one. Damn, why don't you show me how the other one finished?
Oh,
You
because
just
I'm
add
done with
another
that one
one.
already. This is one I'm finishing up today.
Oh yeah, that
The
one's
five
dope.
picks.
Yup, nice work. Yo, just dive right in there, man. It's a hot summer
Nah,
day, bro.
nah. Getting this one wrapped up today
Yeah,
so I can get paid and get out.
yeah, yeah, man. But she's somebody say Young Gun says what Gary versus Pitbull would be exciting.
Man,
Um,
Pitbull to me is washed. He hasn't looked good since that Tank fight.
I don't think he'll
That
be a
Tank
champion
fight?
again.
Nah, I don't think so either.
The thing with the Tank fight, right? Tank fought for the first time somebody actually shorter than him. Tank's whole style was aimed, his punches were up. So he was a little off trying to punch little ass Esau Pitbull Cruz. And Esau's man, that fight that the man gets, that one fight that gets you out of bed early, like you're going into that fight, you're ready to die. And I think that Esau Pitbull Cruz fought his heart out that night, and that was it. That was his moment against Tank. And ever since that, like you said, that Esau's never showed back up, has he? And I think he shot his load against fucking Tank. Pause. So um, I don't know. I don't think he'll be a champion again. Not like other fighters, like I was saying earlier in the stream. Scooter against Naoya Inoue. Yo, that man went on to be a champion again. He went and fought Brandon Figueroa and beat him, and he's the WBC champion at 126 now. So he was still good enough to be a champion. I don't think Esau Pitbull Cruz is ever gonna be a champion again. Not unless he loses weight and go back down. Even then, I think it's tough. It'd be tough for him. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I don't think he'll ever
But
I
at
don't think he'll ever make
140,
it.
but at 140, he's not beating none of the champions now at 140. No. Matias would destroy him.
Yeah, he will.
He would hurt Esau Pitbull Cruz. And Matias is not a world champion. And I'm like, I don't see him being in, so I don't want him to fight Gary Antoine Russell. I believe that the boxing world, now this is my opinion. This is my opinion though. I believe the boxing world would like to see Gary Antoine Russell um revisit that loss against Puello. And I think that that's the fight to make. Now that they are both officially champions, I think that Gary Antoine that now if you ask me, Puello would accept the fight. He already beat him. I think in this situation, truly, truth be told, I think it would be up to Gary Antoine Russell. Whether or not he wants to and he thinks he's ready for that fight again. Does he really believe that he had a bad night? Or is he really honest with himself and say that guy outboxed me? What side do you want to be on, Gary Antoine Russell? You want to? Was it the truth? Were you really having an off night? Or be honest with yourself. Did that man beat
Not
the brakes
Ga-
off you?
Gary's a dog. Gary would take the rematch. He's not gonna just walk away from that.
I
And
would
especially
love to
now being the
believe that.
champion.
I would love to believe that. I would love to believe that. But I'm not Gary Antoine Russell. What if Gary Antoine Russell was like, damn, bro, everything I tried in that ring,
Hey,
this man was a step ahead of me. Everything I did,
the box
he
over there.
had my number. He had my number. You know, I
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you are you really willing to risk? your belt over pride,
One box over there.
or are
No,
you
go. We got up.
or are you honest with yourself?
Pour it up. Yeah.
You know, are you gonna go? Are you gonna say to yourself, "Nah, fuck that. I'm prideful. I'm not scared of no smoke. I'm gonna prove it to the world. I'm gonna fight him next," and then you go and lose your belt in one shot? Or are you honest with yourself and say, "All right, you outbox me. I got to get a little bit better. I'm gonna get a fight or two in, then I'm gonna relive that fight." I'm not saying that Gary's gonna run from him. No, 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 no. I'm not saying Gary's afraid of. No, I don't think Gary's afraid of no man. No, I don't believe that. But strategically, is he ready for him? And that answer, I believe, the only one person that can answer that is Gary Antoine Russell. I can't answer that for him. I'm just merely putting out the question. I'm just bringing it out to you guys. What do you guys think?
Don't get a video of me. Let's get a video of me.
You know, and Frontline's on the side that, nah, he'll take the fight. I'm like, okay, I respect it. Okay, yeah, he might. You know, so yeah, Gary wins that rematch. Gary's a dog. Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see. Let's see if he remains that. You know, Gary Antoine Russell and his brothers, the fathers, that was a really, really, really special moment for them. And uh, you know, I wish the father could see his son, man. You know, and I know they know that their dad's looking down on him,
Yeah, that
and
took a
that
big
was,
toll on that took a big toll on Gary. The
yeah,
loss of
you
his
know,
father.
yeah, and I think that their family as a boxing family, my concern was, you know, not having this big world class coach. Could he pull it off? And the brothers proved that they're highly educated in the sport of boxing. And if you guys didn't know this, Gary Antoine Russell is not a bad student when it comes to book smarts, neither. He graduated really high with honors out of high school in uh his classes and everything. So boxing is not his last end all to Gary Antoine Russell. They're a bunch of smart guys over there. They're like smart boxers. And in fact, you know, if you didn't guys didn't know this about him, and you know, you're becoming more familiar. Frontline must be having technical difficulties. There he is again. But you know, this was a really good moment for the family. And I know it for a fact that all the Gary Antoine Russell fighters are all warriors and fighters, but I also saw they're not stupid. Okay, they are not stupid. They one of their brothers, the little one that fought at 118, he lost to Emmanuel Rodriguez. One was a disqualification, the other one he lost, right? But they were offered the Naoya Inoue fight before, and they denied it because they're not stupid, and he knew that his brother wasn't ready. So
Hey,
it's not like they. I
speaking of
understand it.
Emmanuel
Yeah, go ahead,
Rodriguez, did you see the video I sent you
Rodriguez.
on
Yep.
why Naoya Inoue beat the shit out of him in the first round or second round?
Second round. No, no. I already knew. I knew. I was covering that fight at that time. I knew that his coach
Yeah,
pushed his
that was a
father.
scumbag move.
I knew about. I No, no. I know. No, no. I know about the original, how it all started. What happened was the real way. Naoya Inoue was gonna do like a workout, and it was invited to everyone, the media, and they invited um um uh Ramirez's
Rodriguez.
team. What's his name? Rodriguez, sorry. Rodriguez's team in to watch Naoya Inoue. So Rodriguez's trainer filmed Naoya Inoue. He filmed him, watched him. So the next day, it was Rodriguez's turn to, and Naoya Inoue's dad started to film him. And Rodriguez's coach came over with that New York bully mentality, like that New York, yo, what's up? And Naoya Inoue's dad was there with Naoya Inoue's little brother Takuma, and he was standing there right there, and you know he just put his hands up. He was a little thrown back by it, Naoya Inoue. But mental note: Never try to intimidate Naoya
at all.
Inoue's dad. You guys got that man rocked. You guys got that man Emmanuel Rodriguez beat the fuck up bad because of what he did. But it just goes to show that the Gary Antoine Russell, what I was saying was they're dogs. They're they don't duck smoke, but they're also not stupid. They also know when to try to give their brothers the best possible, to put them in the best possible position. And if they feel like um, Gary Antoine Russell can beat Puello, then they'll take the fight. I just think that just before the Puello fight, Gary Antoine
Huh?
Russell was rocking a 100% knockout ratio. He was rocking like every 40 fight he went in, he was knocking everybody out. So he was kind of doing what Subir was doing. He was one of those fighters like Arthur, one of those fighters. So those guys, they're typically the type of men. If you notice the pattern, they always revisit their loss. So the odds are in the fact that Gary will take this fight with Puello. History has shown us that when those kind of men that were rocking like 100% knockout ratio and they were continuing, whoever they lost to, they typically fight them statistically. So the odds are more in the line that yes, Gary Antoine Russell will take this fight against Puello. And that's what the history of boxing has shown us. When you got those kind of guys, those kind of fighters, yes, in fact, you're damn right. You're damn right. I'm gonna watch that because you see, that's another situation where one fighter is trying to use another fighter as a measuring stick. Nick Ball is trying to use TJ Doheny as a measuring stick of how he's going to fare against Naoya Inoue, right? And I don't think that's a good measuring stick. The problem is just because if you beat TJ Doheny, which, ladies and gentlemen, I am not counting TJ Doheny out in this fight. Remarkably, I think he's tough. You got to think about it. Yo, TJ Doheny, you went your entire career never being knocked down or knocked out. With never being knocked out. He's been knocked down by body shots, but you went your entire career without being knocked out. So Naoya Inoue was the first fighter to knock you out. So knocking him out is not easy. So if Nick Ball think he's just gonna bring him up and I'm gonna fight a guy that you fought to prove that I'm ready for you type shit, there goes another fighter thinking for himself and thinking that I'm going to use that as a measuring stick. I don't think that's good. TJ Doheny is not Naoya Inoue. How the hell are you going to beat up TJ Doheny and go, yeah, now I can beat the monster? Where the hell do you get that from? You're gonna lose your belt, Nick Ball. You keep thinking like that. That kind of mindset, that doesn't work. You were better off fighting Scooter, Nick Ball, and going for unification against Stephen Kubo Fulton. Doheny, I don't think that's a good measuring stick, bro. You're gonna be deceived. So it's just in preparation. Everybody's looking forward of the possibilities of Naoya Inoue moving up to 126. That's all that is. He brings so much with him. He brings the money, the 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 popularity. I mean, if you can sell out a Tokyo arena with 55,000, you're somebody.
But can
You're
you do it in the
somebody.
States?
Um, that's the thing. He's gonna quickly remind the world. I'm not a fan of Naoya Inoue because he talks English. I'm not a fan of him because he talks trash. I'm a fan, and what captivated me over Naoya Inoue was what he does in the ring. You don't gotta try to control him. All you gotta do is unleash him. You unleash him in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is gonna see exactly what we see. He didn't buy me over because he was, hey, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. No, that's why I have confidence in him. It's just a matter of time before the entire world sees why they call him the monster. And I keep saying this. You guys got to recognize some of these subtleties, right? David the Monster Benavidez calls himself the monster, just like Clarissa Shields declared herself the Guo. She calls herself the Guo. And David the Monster Benavidez calls himself the monster. We call Naoya Inoue the monster. He never called himself the monster. There's a difference. The people deemed him a monster. There's a reason for that. The people deemed Amanda Serrano the GOAT. She doesn't call herself that. When they call Amanda the GOAT, she's so modest. No, no, no. No, no, no. We call her the GOAT. There's a difference.
Yeah.
All right? As soon as that Japanese dude touches 1 foot in Las Vegas, he gonna sell out. He gonna sell out. Because quiet is kept, the world is starting to recognize who he is. Real talk. Like, I even can see it on social media now. Most of these YouTube channels are starting to gravitate towards him. They don't talk about him a lot, but when they do, you see the videos now. They're starting to drop more and more. I'm starting to notice a big surge in the interest of the Japanese dude. Even the brothers are watching him. They're like left in amazement. They're like, oh shit, you can't deny it. Even like old trainers and stuff, because a lot of these trainers don't got time to look at these guys. They hear the rumors, the stories, until they actually watch them, that they start to figure out, wait a minute, some of the shit he's doing in there would take years to train one guy to do that. He's doing it like nobody's business. Like it's crazy. And you know talent when you see it. And like I said, I don't watch him because he talks English. I watch him because of the fighting he does, and that's not gonna be a hard sell. It's really
Hey,
not.
you catching the Belanga fight this weekend?
I was gonna ask you guys. That was up to you guys. That was up to you guys. You guys wanna sit back and break down this fight with me? You guys want to tune in and catch this fight, or what? What do you guys want to do?
I mean,
I
there's
mean,
nothing. There's nothing to break down. He's fighting Mantequilla.
I mean, what do you want? What do you want me to do? Like, you know, it's in his name. This dude's butter, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yo, what up? What do you think about that ball versus Doheny? You covering that fight?
I
Or was that too
I
early?
I wasn't sure if I was gonna cover that fight. I was gonna watch it. I didn't think I was gonna have enough, interest eyes yet. I'm not sure, but I don't mind. You guys know I'll watch any fight. I'm crazy. I'll sit here and watch fights for hours. So, but I just didn't, it's being under time like that. I don't think that the name TJ Doheny and Nick Ball really pulls too much weight. So I was gonna watch it though, but I don't know. Whatever you guys want to do, you guys want to sit back and watch it, I'll watch it. I got no problem watching it. Um, but are you guys going to also watch the one time Keith Thurman and Jarvis? It's tomorrow.
I'm gonna watch it just to get a good fucking laugh. I see
You
Thurman getting
know,
knocked the fuck out.
it's not really. Yeah, these are kind of fights that I'm sitting here scratching my head, saying, "Do you really do a live on this? Like what? Like, come on, man. One time Keith
It'll,
Thurman, you really think you could play around with boxing, walk away for 5 years, and I gotta tune into you and take
instead
you
of being
seriously? I gotta
instead
take
of
you
being
serious.
Instead of being a live watch party, it would be a live roast party.
Like really, like you. I'm sorry, man, for all the shit you talked about boxing. Like why should I give you coverage? And it might not even be a lot from me, but I really
Bro,
don't think you've done enough to earn my time. I
bro,
could
bro, I'm surprised. I'm surprised one time hasn't pulled out yet.
probably
Yo,
no,
that's the motherfucker.
he's
He's
gonna
the
have his
fucking king
arm in
of
his
pull out.
sling. He's gonna have his arm in his sling, and he's gonna have a wrap wrapped around his jaw. It's gonna be around his head like this. Yo, I got hurt inviting sparring just now. It happened just now. Yo,
I was warming up and I pulled the muscle.
yeah. So, man, listen. Those are just fights. I was just, I know they're going on, just not enough for us to like really sit here and I'm just gonna watch them, I guess. But it's all up to you guys. Let me know in the comments when if you guys want me to go on a live. If there's enough of you commenting below, then we'll get the live popping. If not, I'll just make a video on it. What I think about what happened in the fights, what transpired, and whatever. These are Wednesday night fights. I
I,
don't mind it. I want boxing, so I'm gonna watch them. Yes. So yeah.
I think this Belanga fight. I think he's doing it. It was one last fight to get out of his contract with
I
Matchroom.
I threw that I threw that around. Remember back then I said, is this what he's doing with Ed Hearn and Matchroom? And
So the
he's
question is, what's he gonna do next? If
I don't know. I don't know. In today's era, there's that era where fighters sign like 8 fight deal contracts. That's a thing of the past. And I'm not sure you're gonna get some guy to sign up or any promotion to sign a guy past 3 fights nowadays.
you think he'll go with Turkey,
I don't think Turkey wants him.
who does Turkey have right now that already said they'll go? They're full, right?
Yeah, he's Turkey's got Saul. He's 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 worked with all these other fighters. He's still got Arthur and all that other shit. He publicly told Bivol, "Time's ticking. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to fight David the Monster Benavides, or do you want to come out to Riyadh season and run this trilogy back and make a shitload of money?" Because you're not going to make any money with that because I'm not even bidding on that. So he's not going to support Demetrius Bivol fighting against David the Monster Benavides. That's the problem. Turkey will be out of the equation. The only way you stay with Turkey and get Turkey money, you got to do what Turkey wants.
Yeah.
That's the trilogy.
And that's the problem that I see with the whole TKO promotion coming in. It's Turkey has his ways. If he does, he's like a spoiled little kid. If he doesn't get it his way, it's fuck you on to the next. That's not how business works. You know
Right.
how many contractors I said fuck you to,
Yeah.
and I go back to them and do work for them because at the end of the day, they're the ones that got the work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, speaking of that, but the last time we had the conversation about the whole business thing, so I looked into it a little bit. Right, a promoter, they got to come out of pocket for the event itself. So they got to rent the arena, they got to pay for security, they got to pay for promotion for the card, so on and so forth. Not to mention the money that they got to have for the boxers set aside without even selling a ticket, without nothing. So yes, a promoter is going to be out of upfront. It's how they recover from that. Like I explained on my end, I had to get a truck, insurance, tools, all that. And then that's even before I even land the job. Once I land the job, now I got to get the materials until the job is done so I can get paid. So,
Right.
so it's the same thing in boxing. I mean, I broke it down that way. I mean, you got to pay doctors, you got to pay the ring girls. You got to pay fucking your security staff.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. So I don't know.
I look. My thing is this, right? A boxing promoter, a big time boxing promoter, they have a lot of staff. When they've been doing this for a lot of years, they establish relationships with hotels, planes, everything. It all comes with doing this promotional shit. Promotional company runs by the numbers, statistically, and the numbers that they try to calculate to try to project how big the event could be. They throw out the names on social media and they see how big the response is. Then they go into everything. When you're dealing with a smaller promotional company, you see that they can only dish out money for certain things. Fucking around with Turkey Al Sheikh and that kind of money, you're in Riyadh season, they're rolling out the red carpet. There's no other place you would want to fight because your experience with them was a lot different. You're fucking around with the PBC, and meanwhile you're downstairs in the basement in this gym, auditorium lockers, and the lights are going off, and no one knows where your shorts are at, and it's
Yeah.
not.
The only thing that saves promoters, honestly, is the sponsors that they acquire.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is all like a gap. Like, okay, for instance, right? The UFC is really, really criticized for not paying their fighters. And there's a small percentage of fighters that do make money. When it was all revealed in like Israel Adesanya's divorce, that revealed that I was like, wait a minute. If Israel Adesanya was making $600,000 leading into his title fight, and just after his title fight, he made $1 million for his fight. That's all he ever made on the records on the book with Dana White. And I was scratching my head saying, then how the fuck is his wife suing him for half of $15 million? Where the fuck did you get $15 million from? Because it was all public. So it was like his girl was trying to be a gold digger to Israel, and it came out that's how much he was worth. And I was like, oh shit. And Israel came out and says, yeah, the UFC only paid me $600,000 to fight this fight. But I made my money off sponsorships because off the stage that UFC provided for me. All
Yeah.
sponsorships paid me 3 million. Monster Energy drink pays me so much. These people pay. I made a commercial over here. So being the UFC champion got me all this money. And he was worth, but Izzy was slick as fuck, boy. Yo, now that was some slick shit. She took him to court for his half of 15, and it came to find out he had everything in his mother's name. Izzy didn't have, he had $0 in his bank account. And then what he did was he turned around and countersued her. She was worth $1 million. She had to give Izzy 500,000, half of her million. Izzy's mom owns all his properties, all his money's in his mother's name. He didn't have shit. He took, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. What she tried to do to him, he ended up getting her. And it all came out on social media. That's why I know that. Yeah. But um yeah, it was very deceiving. Like, you learn shit like that sometimes these fighters, like, for instance, Tank Davis only got, what was it, 3.2, 3.5 million to fight Lamont Roach. And that's his purse. Lamont Roach got 600,000 to fight Tank Davis. The difference between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, Tank Davis is getting pay-per-view points. And depending how that fight sold, Gervonta Davis stands to make another 12 $10 million on the back end in pay-per-view money. Errol Spence Jr. made $23 million, rumored. I'm not really sure what the real number was, but that's the rumor number against Terrence Crawford. But what did they pay Errol Spence Jr. for the fight? $3 million, I think it was, somewhere around there, 2 point something, 3 something. That's what they paid him. That's what the argument was between Errol Spence Jr. and his coach, Derrick James. Derrick James sued Errol Spence Jr. because in their contract, he always got 13% of what? The purse. And Errol didn't. Errol said, I gave you 13% of the purse. But that was only 13. That was only out of the 3 million, 13% of that. So he paid him accordingly. And then when Derrick James found out that Errol got points and he made somewhere like a 23 million, he wanted 13% of the 23 million. Because he was like, I trained you for everything. Why am I excluded on that? And Errol's like, wait a minute. Hold up, dog. I paid you to the agreed amount, but you want a piece of my name. My name in these belts is what gave me the points. And Derrick James saying, how you think you got those belts? With me. So he felt like he was entitled to a piece of that 23, where that went, how that ended up. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So, oh shit. Frontline, I clicked your thing and I don't know if you went out or you went out. I saw you there right there. So yeah, but yeah, a lot of things that go on behind the scene with boxing and shit, and the money. The money can sometimes be misleading. And a lot of these guys, I've learned that they try to throw out a bigger number than what actually some of these guys actually receive. And then one day, all of a sudden, you see these guys being honest. Wasn't it just before Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney and all of them, and Devin Haney coming out with all the chains and stuff, and Teo saying that he's a prize fighter and that he's worth X amount of dollars and this and that. And until Teo's fight in court with his wife, that it was revealed that Teo was making $300,000 a fight. I think his biggest payday was like $600,000. I think that was $600,000 a fight Loma. And you're like, what? And then Teo's wife was suing Teo for upwards of the millions. And I was like, how the fuck is Teo got all this money if he only fought for? And then you got to think about all this, guys, right? Let's say you fight for $300,000. $300,000. Out of that $300,000, you got to pay your coach, your gym, the cut man. You got to pay taxes to that money. Uncle Sam is going to come and take almost half of that money. So in actuality, if you fought for $300,000, you be lucky if you take home $120,000. You be lucky, and I don't see you taking that home. You might make it home with under 100. Everything's gonna come out of that. Now, the promotional company, although they put up the money first, them hotel rooms you guys got, and all those meals you ordered on the phone, that comes out of your money. Unless you put it in the contract that you got to pay all expenses. If you sleep on that, the promotion gets that money right back. By time the promotional money cuts your check, that shit is not nowhere near $300,000, bro. But the world is going to be thinking you got $300,000. And what do? Next time everybody's looking at you, do you show them the real? Man, I got $75,000. And now I got to start buying stuff with that. Before you know it, next week, you got less than 30 grand. You need another fight. But the world is telling you in real time, not even a week's gone by from the fight, you just made $300,000. The entire neighborhood thinks you got $300,000. It's nowhere near that. That's what happens sometimes in boxing, man. And there's a lot of expenses. Like, fuck around and win a world title. You know, you're moving up their ranking system. You're paying sanctioning fees to these belts. A lot of people argue, why the fuck are we paying sanctioning fees to the belts? Why the fuck don't you ask a better question? Or maybe you're an intelligent, because, man, that answer couldn't be no more clearer. You know, the reason why you pay sanctioning fees to the organization that don't pay a dime or give back to anything, they're the sanctioning bodies. They provide the world stage and their belt. Without the world stage and that belt, where would you be? Where would you be? What would you be fighting for? Oh, it's just like the TKO boxing that they're making, that other entity. Wait a minute. I've seen that before. Isn't that fucking the PBC? Didn't the PBC try to make their own belt? Didn't the PBC try to go against the Alphabet Boys? What happened? They've been fighting for the Alphabet Boys the entire time. Their belt never took off, did it? PBC did the same exact thing that TKO is doing. Other entities trying to live in the boxing bubble. Seen that 100 times. They're not going to be boxing. Why do you pay to the sanctioning bodies? They're a business. Why would I let it be for free? This belt I own it. I'm the IBF. I run it, right? That's my fucking belt. You know how many world champions have worn my belt? How prestigious my belt is? Why would I not make money off the very stage my belt provides? What am I supposed to do things for free? The fact that the sanctioning body don't put a dime towards any boxing match, that's fucking smart business. And I got you fighting on my ranking system, that without my ranking system, where would you be? Pay me. That's called business. Why do they pay these people? Why do you breathe? Why do you need to take a shit? Those are dumb questions, bro. Like, really, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, why do we pay sanctioning fee? And I'm looking at these people like, you act like you're saying something. Why open up a corner store and charge people for the food? Why would I open up a bar and just pass out free drinks? I'm not, that's for free on the house every day, 24 hours a day. You wouldn't be successful. That's a real dumb answer, bro. Why I pay money? Because they're a business. That's their belt. They gotta make money. Hey, yo, and dig this. They make money on something. They don't pay a dime out. All 100% profit. Are you fucking kidding me? I wish I could make a belt. Make it a world champion. You're damn right. Shit, I'll lower my sanctioning fees. I'll I'll hustle the next belt or something. Come fight for my belt. Our fees are lower. Interest rates or something. I don't know. but I'm definitely charging money for my ranking system, for my stage, for my title, all that. Shit, life ain't free. Where you see that at? It's just a ridiculous question if you ask me. But look, um, I think that we have a lot of good, amazing fights coming up. I want to support boxing. I want to get out to New York City and support this Ryan Garcia fight. He's coming back. Devin Haney's on the card. Teal's on the card. There's a lot of good fights there. That's a lot of good boxing going on right there. Although whatever impression you have of the antics or the back and forth, I still invite you on a night where boxing is going to shine. I believe in Madison Square Garden, there's a lot of guys on that fight card that got a lot to prove. A lot to prove. And there's a lot riding on the future. There's two fighters, or two fights, I should say, on this card that are really must win. Ryan Garcia must close the show or win against Rolly, and I believe Devin has to do as well, because the world is waiting for the much anticipated rematch against Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, which Turkey Al Sheikh has already assigned that fight. So now both fighters got to do their part. When I looked at Ramirez on stage, I thought that he looked a little heavy for me. I don't think he's gonna beat Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney's gonna look good beating him. I think that Teal now has the biggest fight on the card, the toughest opponent. If you ask me, Arnold Barboza just became the toughest fight on that card with Teofimo Lopez. Like overnight. I thought Devin Haney had the stiffer of the competition. I no longer feel that way. I think Arnold Barboza might just be that wild guy, that wild shot that really upsets the night. And he has the potential of doing it. So I invite you guys to tune in with me on those fights. There are many more fights. Saul's going to be fighting the next day. And then Naoya Inoue supposedly be fighting on the 4th. I saw, you see the title of this particular video that I needed to get to that. Was the fact that Naoya Inoue himself has this like, or someone else might have made it up now that I start to think about it. It has like Naoya Inoue's image of his face. It says March 13th and like big, I saw it. But all the sources are pointing towards the line that he's still going to be fighting in May. So I'm going to be looking up more on that, guys. Thank you for tuning in this morning, guys. Don't forget to give these videos a like, share the videos, comment on the videos. Let me know what you guys enjoyed about the videos, or what you would like to say at any point so put all your comments below, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'm going to see if I go on again later on tonight. Just let me know in the comments below. And I'm on to the next one, y'all, after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been the best. Thank you, Funline, for stopping by. Oh, man, I got the chats off right here. I haven't even seen the chats. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, you guys have been basically the same, so that's cool. So, yo, tune in tonight. I think I might go on tonight. I'm not sure. Just keep them notifications on then to find out if I go on tonight. So, Fight fans, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk, y'all.